some initiative. That should be a two-way street. It shouldn't be your manager always having to come to run you down. It shouldn't be you even having to always come run our managers down, but we always know that's not always the effect. But what we want to do is show up as our best selves every day, because there shouldn't be any complaints, any write-ups, any things of that nature that puts you in a bad light that you are not a great employee. At the end of the day, your work has to speak for you. And that's a principle I live by. You can say and think however you want to think about Chelsea. But what you can't say is, I don't do my work and my work is wrong. Or
that you don't take accountability. There's times where you've come and said, you know what? I'm going to take initiative.
I take initiative.
I made a mistake. I'm going to learn from it.
Right.
And this is how I'm going to correct it.
That's exactly right. Solution-minded. Welcome back, good people, to the Beautiful in Its Time podcast. I'm Chelsea Louds, and I'm here with
Britnie Thompson.
And this is a space where we talk about financial literacy, career growth, and making clear life decisions easy. And in today's conversation, we're going to jump in if you would even hire yourself. But before we do that, we want you to be sure to follow us on all of our social medias, on Instagram, on Facebook, and also make you aware of our email that we are accepting emails from our listeners. So at Instagram and on Facebook, you can find us at Beautiful in Its Time podcast. You will see Britt and myself on display. And also you can send us an email at timedbeautifully@gmail.com. Again, that's timedbeautifully@gmail.com. With that said, let's get into today's conversation.
Let's do it.
Oh, well, I guess this is kind of a slippery slope. Because Britnie, if you was hiring for your own business, what is a quality employee?
Well, let's think about the qualities that you have on your current job, such as showing up on time, doing what the job qualifies for you to do so that you can get the work done and so that the company can be successful. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a list when you apply for the job and
Right.
They say these are the job qualifications. Do you meet these qualifications?
Right.
What experience have you had in the past to meet these qualifications?
Mhm.
And we're not only talking about like work that has to be done, but what are some skill sets that you bring to the job that's going to make the company even better or make the clients or people that you're servicing or the product be of value to your
Correct.
community at large.
Right. Well, I can agree with that because everything is not going to be on a resume. Sometimes you just have to read that person when you meet them for that interview. When you bring them in, you get them on Skype, Zoom, whatever, and you're able to analyze their body language, analyze how they think on their feet when they're getting asked these questions. So even their own personal processes help you navigate whether or not you would even bring on an employee. Right?
That's
not just qualifications on the resume. And I think that's kind of where a lot of folks get hung up because, yeah, you might have a great resume, but are you really a great employee?
That's true. That's true.
You
Because
know
we
what I
can
mean?
train you on the skills, right? We
Yes.
can train you on the tools
The processes.
Yeah,
we
the
can train you
processes.
on all of that, but what's not trainable is character.
Very true. Very true.
Was not training is common sense. Was not trainable is critical thinking, unfortunately. And we have found in all of our extensive work, and I'm pretty sure as our listeners have come on jobs or even have been hired on jobs, you know really quick in that interview process, like, is this for me? Is this something I'm going to go through with based off of even HR's communication or professionalism? And you know, like, okay, I'm not going with them because that's not for me. That's just not a good fit for whatever reason.
Yes.
But going into our conversation, a lot of times we have folks who got it all together on that resume, got it all together on LinkedIn, got the correct connection. And let's be honest, nowadays people getting hired just because they know somebody.
That's true.
At
That
this
is
point,
very
you know,
true.
you
True.
went, you can't sell crack to the crackhead.
That's
okay?
true.
But you signed up for the sales role.
That is very true.
You signed up for the sales role. How you gonna do that?
I have No idea. And let's think about honesty too. And honesty is not, have you ever stolen a pen before? Okay. I mean, every one of us has probably walked into a company and taken a pen or something, right?
So nonchalantly, yes.
Yeah, nonchalantly, not like on purpose.
Now, sometimes it depends good now.
Honesty, what are like, if you were to interview somebody, right, for your company, what would you be considered honest? Like if that person said, you know what? I know that I'm at a company and I know that, for example, most companies aren't talking about like their religious values, right? Or they're not going to bring in a cross or say that we're Christian based unless they really are Christian based. Yeah. But you're a person that's sitting in that interview going, I'm honest about my faith. That's where my worldview comes from. And because that's where I derive my worldview, that's how I act on a daily basis. That person's telling you some piece of their character that you can trust because they were open and honest in an interview.
That's right. I have no reason to lie, and God can strike me down, but I had sat in an interview, and I think I told you this, we had this conversation, and they were like, well, last question, what makes you be able to do your job? What makes you be able to operate at the levels that you're able to operate? Because this was such a great interview. I had one word to say, and it was off the dome. I've never said this in my life except for that interview. And yes, I got the job, y'all. Don't worry. But I said, Jesus Christ. Just as country as I want to be, Jesus Christ.
I wonder what their reaction was to that.
Okay. And they just started writing. But I said, yeah, Jesus, that's how I'm able to do what I'm able to do. Honestly speaking, that's how I'm able to do everything you done wrote down on that paper. And that's the truth, because that's who I serve. That's my higher power. That's who I say lives and dwells inside of me. So, baby, if you want me to answer something else, willpower myself, And the Bible tells us to acknowledge him in all your ways, right? So I sure enough did. And did he bless my sacrifice for that? Absolutely. But I think God blesses all of our sacrifices to an extent, as long as you're doing things in his will and in his way. If you walk uprightly, he will give you the desires of your heart.
True.
But that said, honey,
I think one of the things that I also could add to that is, one of the things I remember applying for a job, and honestly, on my resume, I had no skill set for the position. And it was It was in logistics, and I really hadn't been in manufacturing for a while. But I was honest with the person. They said, "Do you know Excel?" I said, "No." They said, "Do you work often with Microsoft Word?" A little bit. I have customer service skills. Okay, well, you're applying for a customer service position within a logistics company. But what was cool is the company said, "You know what? We're going to try you out anyway." And so they hired me.
Amazing.
And what was so funny is I started out on one pay grade, one pay scale. And because of my solution mindedness and me going to like different conferences to learn leadership skills, they quickly found that out. And every position where someone left the company, they fill me. They go, I mean, it at one point got to a position that was $15 higher than what I was getting paid.
Imagine.
Higher.
And people don't even get that over the span of 20 years.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying to you? They don't even get that in the span of 20 years. And here you are.
And this was just based off something that, like we introduced at first to this podcast, we were talking about like common of the sense, you know? So I'm working in a customer service department, and our warehouse keeps sending back a document over and over. And I go, excuse me, you know, we could be solution minded here and say, okay, what is it that warehouse needs from us to fill out this document so it doesn't keep getting sent back? Good idea, Britnie. Calls me into a conference room. Let's discuss this process so that we can fill out this form so warehouse can get what they need and customer service has what they need.
Absolutely.
And that was it. And it wasn't me bragging on myself, but it was management recognizing this is a solution-oriented individual thing, and let's get it done.
That's right. And I think that's where I get confused, to where people love to say, well, if I was in this, well, if I had this role, baby, please. You will fold like a lawn chair. That's what you would do. You would not be any different than who's in the position now, right? Because leadership loves to speak highly of the company. Loves it. Loves to play favorites, kiss butt, do all the things. But don't know Adam from Eve. They don't know a policy A from policy Z. They just don't know nothing. You go ask them for solutions, they have none. They want you to do their job, but they get paid to do. Okay? So the thing is, when you talking about what I look for as far as a candidate, if I was not only in a business that needed employees, what would I look for? What would Britt look for? But if you as the listener had your own business, would you want you to work at your company? Self-reflection time, people. Are you really all that in the bag of chips that you talk yourself up to be? Are you showing up to them people job on time? Are you meeting the sales goal? Or are you up there playing?
And a big thing that I would say is, do you have confidence in your role? Not that you know everything, because there's a difference between confidence and cockiness.
That's it.
Right?
Because confidence is coachable. I love when you can come to me with nuggets and I can come to you with nuggets, because the thing is, Britt, the Bible tells us iron sharpens iron.
That's a great tool.
Yes. That is no thing I will take lightly. If somebody who I respect, number one, and who is educated and intelligent, because there's a difference between being educated and intelligent. I don't care how you cut it. If they come to me and they think it not robbery to pour into my cup and say, hey, well, this is an area of improvement, and they have their door open, I have my door open, because I don't mind pouring either. But I love learning. I love understanding how stuff works, because I'm ready to teach the next person. I'm ready to help the next person. I don't have that big head attitude. But
I think also the reason why you're ready to learn, though, is because you have the confidence in yourself that you're able to learn.
That's right.
Sometimes I think we don't understand if we're able to learn, or we're scared of our own self. And so our fears come into play. And then we start acting cocky and start making things up and end up hurting ourselves.
Right.
Because we think we become an idiot if we have to ask the question, why? Or we don't know something, or we can't say that we don't know something.
And the thing is, though, when I learned at an earlier age in life to just take instruction, and it's okay. You don't have to have everything absorbed like a sponge. Some things are bulljive. Some things you don't need to really take you take it with a grain of salt, right? Some things I do take with a grain of salt, and then some things I hold on to my bosom, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a nugget. This is a life nugget right here. And I learned that at an early age because, believe it or not, my mama was right about a lot of things. And when I realized she was right about a lot of things, I said, oh, I need to listen to this woman. And it has paid me some good. I really owe it to her. And that's gone and transferred over now to my professional career. I don't listen to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes my way, because some people like to try to dim your light and tell you some foolishness in order so you can be sabotaged and thrown in the riff. However, if that person has maybe started from the bottom, grinded it out, and has a great work ethic, takes initiative, all the things that I look at, because employees look at each other too. Employees size each other up too. They know exactly who they can stand against, and they know exactly who they need to go and ask for help.
That's true.
Okay?
Very, very true.
All right. And there we have it.
I think a good example of that too is, when she said, almost like being like, not nitpicky, like I'm trying to say the right word, you guys, nitpicky, or take it with a grain of salt. For instance, we were just talking about like our background and our faith, and so like when it comes to the church, sometimes like, we know there's major issues, there's major things that you can't go against when you're looking at the Word of God, right? But then there's certain things that it's like you're not going to not go to heaven because you wore flip-flops. That's it. That's the kind of things that we're talking about. Like, look at the very stuff minute. That matters. Yes. And that's going to have an effect. Yes. Versus just being nitpicky. That's right. And just being all over the place because that's something that we actually talk about a lot is emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence is key. And not only just for any leader that you work for, but as an employee. If your manager, if you have one that actually thinks critically, because a lot of us are not blessed with critical thinking managers. If you have a manager that pours into you and actually tries to uplift you, take some initiative. That should be a two-way street. It shouldn't be your manager always having to come to run you down. It shouldn't be you even having to always come run our managers down, but we always know that's not always the effect. But what we want to do is show up as our best selves every day, because there shouldn't be any complaints, any write-ups, any things of that nature that puts you in a bad light that you are not a great employee. At the end of the day, your work has to speak for you. And that's a principle I live by. You can say and think however you want to think about Chelsea. But what you can't say is, I don't do my work and my work is wrong.
Or that you don't take accountability. There's times where you've come and said, you know what? I'm going to take initiative.
I take initiative.
I made a mistake. I'm going to learn from it.
Right.
And this is how I'm going to correct it.
That's exactly right. Solution minded. And that's what we talked about a little bit earlier on.
Yes, that is true. And you can trust your feelings, but sometimes you got to look at a scenario, get proper perspective on it before you just go off, because sometimes our feelings can be misleading. I've had instances where I'm asking about a certain thing and realize I had the wrong perspective.
Perception is everything, because if you allow perception to overtake you, perception can cause you to think scenarios through that haven't even happened. Make up things in your head. And I love when I'm able to sit down and analyze exactly what it is that's actually going on, like the facts. Follow the facts. I say that a lot. Follow the facts. Because if you're not following the facts, then what are you following?
That's very true. I love that. And the work speaks for itself, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I also would like to talk about, like, let's just talk about money here, okay? So why do you own a company? To do what, guys?
To make money.
To make money.
To make money.
Why do you work? To get a what?
Paycheck, make the money.
But
earn a living.
Let's talk from that perspective. Are you just clocking in, wasting time so you can get the paycheck? Are you just building the company for the money?
Okay.
Or do you realize what brings the money in and adds value to the company?
That's right.
Because one thing we like to say is, when it comes to performance, are you playing?
Are you playing? You out here playing the card game. Just sitting back like the uncles in them outside, just shooting the breeze. That's what the people doing. And I have a problem with that, because performance is not only just, people think performance is sales and things that are measured on a metric. That is not true.
That's true.
Performance, again, is your daily man. How are you showing up to these people's jobs? How are you conducting yourselves on these people's jobs? How are people reviewing you?
I mean, would you go to your own company in sweatpants and a t-shirt unless you're a personal trainer? I'm not sure.
And I'm big on that, because, honey, you are how you look to me. I'm sorry. I'm one of them. I'm sorry. If you don't look the part, I'm going to skip right over you. Excuse me, baby. Who can help me in here?
I mean, how many of y'all have wanted to try out a restaurant that you maybe saw on Facebook or Googled? You pull up to the restaurant and the building looks dirty.
My goodness.
Are you going to go eat there?
Here's a better one. Or there's a C or anything other than an A from the DHEC or the food control people. Baby, you lost me. I don't care how nice it is. Good day. I'm not eating there, because evidently you are dirty. You are nasty.
I mean, even your attitude when you walk into your own company or the workplace, are you walking in going, yeah, what's up? Mm-hmm. Are you going to say, hey, how are you doing? I'm so glad that you're doing business with me. That's right. It's a pleasure to have you in my presence, right, because I actually need you to build this company.
Hello, because without your members, customers, all the things, you don't have said business. And I love when, I'm not saying the customers are always right here. I love,
that's not what we're saying.
I'm not barking up that tree, because they are not.
That's another podcast.
Right. Keep listening. But what I am saying is, taking initiative goes a long way. When you see trash in a parking lot, get it up. No one has to ask you to get stuff up. If you see that maybe the trash person forgot to take the trash out, if it's If it's not too big of a bother, just take it out. Or maybe you can notify the janitorial staff that, hey, there's trash that needs to be taken out. Not just leave it there, but initiative, because there's a difference in where you separate the workers, right, from the owners.
That's true.
Owners, 9 times out of 10, are initiative people.
They are.
They're doing the things that nobody wants to do, but nobody's watching them do.
That's true.
They're doing all those things in it's kind of like silence, right? But everybody wants that reward, that grand reward. Oh, he's the owner, that's the owner, she's the owner, whatever. But you don't know what they do in their quiet time. You don't know what they do in their downtime. Downtime meaning when those doors are locked, when it's closed. You don't know if they're on their hands and knees scrubbing. You have no idea. You don't know if they've got sleep the night before. You have no idea the cost of what it bears to be the boss.
Owners take responsibility. That's why, like, the difference between, let's say, owning a house.
Yeah.
Or renting, you're going to take responsibility. And if something breaks on the house, you don't have anybody to call but yourself. That's because you own that. And so when you own a company, the reason why I'm asking you the question, whether you own a company or just work in a company, ask yourself, am I willing to take responsibility, take ownership in my life, period?
That's right. And a lot of times we meet people, again, who say they want to be, oh, if I was this and if I was that. No, you wouldn't do anything different.
No.
You would just have a title, and this will be in title only, in name only. That's the only thing that will be different about your situation.
That's why I think I like this this quote so much, is leadership speaks on the greatness of the company.
It does.
But their actions say, or that person's actions say otherwise when they say that they're in leadership, but they're not really operating as a leader.
As a leader. That's exactly right. And that's why a lot of us don't really understand how our managers got to where they are.
That's true. That's true.
It's an unfortunate truth, and I have to say it, but a lot of times they just don't have the sauce. They don't have it. They don't have it.
And it just depends on, like, what the company's role is, because sometimes, let's just face it, sometimes people are placed as leaders because they can be controlled.
Ooh. That was good.
And let's just face it, in this world, we do have it's a thing now. Yeah. Like it probably wasn't used to be a thing, but as a thing now, it's like that's why we have this podcast, is because we want you to have a sound mind. We want you to think critically. And sometimes those people don't get offered ownership roles or leadership roles within the company.
Right.
Because they think critically, because they cannot be controlled. Right. And we need someone to be controlled so that we can keep doing what we're doing on the back end. And we'll pay you this little salary here while we're increasing here.
Yeah, to keep you comfortable.
But you're just the control puppet. And when we need to get rid of you, we will.
Cut.
Yep. Cut. But you've offered your whole life to us.
Yeah.
And you followed things that didn't even make sense. And you were told to do this. And we said, and you just said, yes, boss. Yes. And I think that me and Chelsea have had this conversation over and over again. I'm a millennial. And
I'm a Gen Z, and we have our differences. But we love each other. But I love the differences, because the differences actually make one another more...
Iron sharpens iron.
That's right. It makes it better.
But Gen Z, we've had this conversation. You can speak more to this, but Gen Z is not... They don't make a lot of companies happy, because they are of the mindset to not be controlled.
Baby, we're not finna do it. Get somebody else to do it. But it's not rude.
And the why question.
I would say this, though. And I had to tell Britt, I said, the thing about I'm not easily controlled, I'm not easily moved, and I'm not go along with the get along, baby, no. Because first of all, Mom always said, if Simon jump off the bridge, you gonna jump off the bridge too? Okay, so this technically was my mama's fault. And she said not to be a follower.
We were told that too.
Exactly. So it's just up to you to lean more into it. I'm not going to let Billy Joe up there tell me anything that isn't of this policy. Because a lot of times people don't understand why Gen Z is the why. And you know I'm big on policy. Ooh,
yes,
if it's not in a policy, we not talking
Well,
about it.
because if it's written down and then you tell me to do otherwise, I'm going to have to bring this up to you so that if you try something foolishness in the future, I got documentation.
Thank you. And I told you, I said, Gen Z feels like they always are on the defense because we are automatically persecuted because of the title, Gen Z, the age, the new age, the year you were born, blah, 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 blah. You're young, you're dumb, you're naive. And we're always on the defense with that, right? So if you approach a Gen Z, not saying we're always like ready to bite your head off, but we've learned to just take the emotion part out of it. I'm not finna deal with you on an emotional, I'm not gonna cry. I don't feel like I need to be sobbing and giving you a full life story of why I can't perform and this and that. No. Here's the facts. Can you show me the facts? If you can't show me the facts, then there ain't nothing to talk about.
Well, guys, why do we have books on history? So that what do people always say? So that we can learn from our past. Mm-hmm. What Gen Z saw from millennials is, wait a minute, you went into debt for that college, and then you went to go get a job, and you're not even being paid the amount that you went into debt for that said degree. I'm not doing that. Or you offered this job your whole life for your 401k plan to be $1,000, and now you have to work for the rest of your life.
Hello, Gen X.
And so, yeah. So they're like, we learned from y'all's mistakes. And by the way, we keep saying housing prices out here and we still got to live in our parents' basement. I don't think we're going to have some kind of loyalty to no value for our future. Like, how are we supposed to secure our future?
And we've seen it time and time again, because a lot of folks think that Gen Z was like just absent-minded when our parents lost their houses. My parents lost their house during the 2008 crisis, okay? I remember going from the big boom house, okay, down to, what, Mama, what is this? I mean, that was cute. It was cute. It was cute. Mama was rocking it out. Daddy was rocking it out. We love that. But shout out to parentals. We love you. But no, seriously, I remember. I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, okay, what a sign out there. Are we moving? We moving? Like, I remember that part. And then, of course, now knowing, that's what happened. But we remember, I said, oh, okay. And then when I talked to my parents back now about it, and me and my parents have come a long way when it comes to finances. And I'm so grateful that they're so open to hearing finances. This is a sidebar conversation. But now understanding what they went through and why they went through it.
Yeah.
Them jobs was cut and there was nothing that nobody could do. And it's just like, dang, you gave these people all of your years and then they just cut you like a bad habit and you lose everything, quite literally. I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
That's why I have different wires about me, because I'm like, I still remember that. And I think
one of the things that I love about Chelsea when it comes to talking about would you hire you at your workplace, when the accountability, what qualifies you as a good employee or a good business owner. I think one of the things that I love about her is that she asks the question why a lot. Sometimes I'm like, girl, you come with 21 questions.
You do.
And but I understand why she comes with 21 questions. Now, there's a way to ask a question without being skeptical. I know that we all are skeptical, especially since the 2008 find, and there's a right to be skeptical. But there's a way to ask questions without being negative either. Like we could ask and then we could say, is there a solution to that problem?
Thank you.
And be solution oriented.
That's all I'm asking for. Usually when I'm asking them questions, I say, well, I'm just trying to get to the solution, B. That's it.
Yes.
That's all. What
we love solutions over here at Beautiful One It's Time Podcast. Like, we do. We don't like to leave you hanging.
No.
And if you come with a question we haven't thought about, we're going to research it and say, okay, let's get back to you on an answer.
That's right. Because I mean, it's a lot of greatness between the two of us, seriously. And we both have extensive backgrounds. But that brings me to this quote. You send the best quotes. I don't know how you find these quotes, B, but it is what it is. But I'm gonna say this. Y'all know your ABCs, right? But we're going to go backwards today. So, C players need instructions. B players need approval. A players need problems worth solving. You see how the mindset is shifted from ABC? Person ABC. One needs to be told what to do. One needs to know how to walk like a duck, quack like a duck. Can I please? Yes, boy. And the other person is like, this is all beneath me. I'm just trying to understand how exactly we solved the issue because I didn't already figured it out in my head. I just need y'all to catch up.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
Quite literally.
Yes.
It's mind-boggling. But that is so true because how many times you run into those kind of scenarios at work? Person A, person B, person C.
True. And there's this quote that I heard that I use all the time. Most businesses that are created are solutions to problems.
And that's how they're successful too.
And think about that. Yeah, think about I'm sitting here looking at a Stanley Cup. Think about how it was created, why people created the Stanley Cup.
Well, think about, if we want to do our little, I love that Stanley Cup story though. Because I know it might be cliche. Y'all like, these girls, nothing different. No, and we love these Stanley Cups because we got to stay hydrated, okay? But I love their comeback story because Stanley is a comeback company, okay? Nice. So they were in the business of coolers, tumblers, camp gear, and all that jazz, right? And how do you mean to tell me it was one influencer or something that got this cup and was just like, I just love, like, raving about the cup. And I think the cup had made, those lists that be like 10 things you need for the spring, 8 things you need for the summer, know.
Okay.
And it just took off. Like I said, your next moment is one moment away. That's how I live my life. Like, that's why I don't wait for tomorrow. And if y'all missed that conversation, refer back to the other episode. But with that said, I think that Stanley Cup, because it took me a second to get into it. And that's why I said a lot of people try to duplicate it, but they can't get it. Because I bought a lot of knockoffs. You told me you bought knockoffs too. But I bought the knockoffs because I was being financial frugal and realized, well, with my financial frugal, I didn't spend more than the darn cup cost.
That's true. We talked about that.
I said, oh no. But anyway, my husband said, he went and bought the cup for me. And I was like, oh my God, I love this cup. Where has it been my whole life? But it literally is like that because I love my waters and things. But this is a side note conversation. But
that's just a story of a business being a solution to a problem, maybe feeling like that nobody's hearing them. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden an influencer drinks out of their cup and says, I love this cup, and it goes viral.
But imagine the company if they didn't listen. Because if they realized that, oh my God, now women are into our product. Imagine if they didn't even make this pretty sage green right here in front of me. Imagine if they didn't make
just kept making black or some ugly one pink, or something.
Right. The different collabs that they have done with so many people, so many products and things. I'm just like, imagine if they didn't listen. That would have been what they call a one-hit wonder. Literally. They would have had a one-season run. And a lot of things do have a lot of one-season runs because they don't listen to their customer. And we could talk about that another day. But anyway.
I think I want to end with this, Chelsea. What makes an A player an A player? Like, besides players need problems worth solving. Like you said, they're not a B player because they don't just need constant approval. That's where we also talk about that confidence thing. Like, if you have confidence in who you are, you add value, then you don't need an approval necessarily. And then we know where our approval comes from because we're faith-based.
Right.
Initially. And then you've got we say C players need instructions. Instructions are not bad, but they constantly need you to write something out. It's like they can't think.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why I said good businesses are normally created because they're being a solution to a problem. Mm-hmm. You're not afraid to take on task. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's the big difference, is not afraid to take on tasks.
Not afraid to take on tasks. And I would say this, what makes an A player an A player is going to have to be a challenge. As a person, I feel like who operates at an A level, you cannot bring to me mediocrity, because I'm not going to clap for it. I'm no stranger to that quote, okay? I don't clap for mediocrity. Yes. You're going to have to bring me a challenge. And A players do not like nor understand when there's like the most simplest of problems. Oh my God, the lights went out. The lamp got unplugged. Okay, be for real.
Plug the lamp up.
That's right. Wait, give me something challenging. Give me something, right? And I'm not saying something that I can't go figure out. Maybe something that I need to figure out. Because I can go figure out, okay, you tell me the milk is on the top shelf behind the orange juice, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. You just gave me instructions.
That's
Okay.
true.
But if I ask you, well, can I park my car here because of such and such and such, and I'm explaining all these things to you, and then you're telling me you don't need my permission to just park your car. You can park your car and go in anytime. Cool. A person is not operating at that frequency. We're demanding.
I need you to assign my parking lot, and then that is my parking space. Period.
Yes.
Like I need you, and I need to know that I can only park
On the road.
in this number.
Yes. Yeah, we're not finna be sitting up here doing all that.
Assigned seating, you know?
No, we don't have to do all that because all that stuff is minimal. If you're thinking about things like at a wavelength of the next big problem you have going on, or I can't solve that, so I'm going to avoid that. No, that's not a thinking. We need a challenge. And that's the best way I can really narrow that down. A challenge is needed. Please give that to me. That's and true. If I can get a challenge and keep my brain moving on figuring out and stay working, I thrive in those kind of environments. And if everybody else is not, then
that's true.
I get a little bit.
Don't run from conflict. Run to see how you can solve it.
That's right.
Be of value.
Yeah.
And then with that being said,
I think
when you're hiring, like would you hire you? Are you an A player? Ask yourself that. Am I an A player?
Yeah. And I think and I want to say this because you say all the time that you and I are not alike. And I get that. And I appreciate that we're not alike. But you can be a different A player than I am.
That's very true.
Right? So yes. I'm not, it's no set way to be an A player. And I don't want you all to get the wrong idea.
For sure.
But me and B operate on two different wavelengths, and we still can come together. Our heads are always moving. And I know we kind of get on our husband's nerves because this mouth be running.
That's
your mouth be running. It's fine. And that's why we running it now. But anyway, we'll wrap with this. We want to make sure that you understand that here at Beautiful in This Time, we always want to back things up biblically in order for you to get a full understanding and a sound mind. And today's sound mind moment is no different, but it comes from the good book, coming from Psalms 27:14. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. And with that, we want to leave you with, if you had a mirror and you owned a company and you were looking at yourself as a candidate, would you feel like you made the cut with flying colors? And if the answer is anything but absolutely yes, then there's always room for improvement. The Bible tells us to be of good courage because although we are waiting maybe for our next big thing, that doesn't give us an excuse to do poorly by the things God has blessed us with currently. Amen. Be it a job.
Yes.
Be it homelessness if you're going through it. Be it the house that you're in.
Even relationships,
friendships, family, whatever. You still have to be of good courage. Still have to have a good attitude going anywhere. Every day you should wake up with the joy of the Lord in your heart. But even if that's not something that you resonate with, you still should wake up with a vibe. That's good. I mean, because who walks around being miserable all day? And I hope it's not you, but if it is, you please hit the email so we can get you going.
Yes, for sure.
Because that just means that at some point in your life, I say all the time, if you are miserable, that means you don't have enough things going on.
Yeah.
You just ain't got enough things going on because that means you're taking up vacant space in your brain, soaking.
That's true. That could happen. Yeah. And what do parents say all the time, like, if you're not busy, then you must be doing something else. Right.
And if you're too busy, then now you're quiet, right?
That's true.
So that said, we hope you guys got something out of this and will continue to level up and sharpen yourselves in the space of professionalism, because that you can't train. No. You can't train somebody how to be characteristic. You can't train somebody how to be a good person.
That's responsibility. You have to take that responsible ownership, like we talked about earlier in the past. You've got to be an owner, and what it means to be an owner is taking that responsibility. Taking that responsibility means maybe you have to purchase a book that the company maybe is not giving you. Yeah, you have to do that.
Yeah, I remember I did that, stepping out on faith, and I love how you say stepping off that boat. And for the next 30 days, I hope you guys step off the boat. Get yourself a notebook, an accountability partner, and maybe if you don't have a partner, get an accountability notebook and write down something every day in that notebook about what you are doing to get your future life, or what you are doing goal wise. I don't care what it is, how small it is, because the thing is, you think it's small until it gets big, and then everything is falling into place, and then you are not prepared. You want to be prepared. So prepare yourself for your future self. And I hope y'all got something out of this. Until next time, I'm Chelsea Lyles, and
I'm Britnie Thompson.
So we gonna see y'all on our Facebook, right? We hope we do.
We want to see you there, guys.
We do.
For now,
we do.
Bye.
Bye.